Hey guys, my name's Jason and I wanted to make a quick video for you guys today talking about propane, how much propane you need while you're camping, why I switched over from these little guys over to these right here, and why I wouldn't recommend going with this if you're not doing RVing. So propane is an incredibly versatile tool. It can be used for heating, for cooking, for stoves, even in RVs with some of these bigger ones. You can even use your fridge off of these. So each of these propane tanks has a purpose, and picking the right one for your needs can be a little bit confusing. So if you're RVing, you're car camping, overlanding, essentially the same thing, or if you're backpacking, one of these will be better for each of those different things. So when it comes to propane tanks, there are really 4 or 5 different sizes that are going to be the most common. You're going to have these little 1-pound ones that are, small, compact, and easy to carry, but they aren't going to get you very far. You've also got a 5-pound tank. Now that's going to be a little bit better than this, but it won't be as large as this one here. Now, if you're doing car camping, you can still find that the 11-pound will pretty much do everything you need for many days at a time. There's also the 15 or 20-pound ones that you'll see on RVs, and some people will take these with you, although you do have to add a lot of padding to them to make them kind of fit and keep them from rolling around. These are typically seen in home use. They are very large. Most of them will be 20 pounds. However, I happen to just grab a 15 today because the 20-pound is just a little bit too big to bring with me. Even though it would have made more sense for this video, I just don't have the space for 20 pounds. So let's go ahead and talk about the 1-pound tank, what its uses are, some of the pros and cons, and sort of what the reasoning is behind going with these. Now, I started with these when I was camping because these are what everybody brings with you. These aren't really reusable. Once you use them once, you have to toss them out, and it's very, very wasteful. Even though these are only a few bucks, they end up costing way more in the long run. These really aren't suitable for extended trips. They basically are good for, maybe one use of your stove, or, a few hours with your fire pit. And, if you have to use like 3 or 4 of these just to be able to get one of these, then you're really not saving that much space. The pros for this one is it is going to be portable, lightweight, and it's super easy to find. You can get these at Walmart, Target, Lowe's, really anywhere. So the cons for these are going to be that they have a short lifespan. They actually end up being a lot more expensive, and they're really just not ideal for extended use. When it comes to the 5-pound and the 11-pound, these are going to be more for what I typically do, which is car camping. Now, if you're backpacking, obviously this would be a lot of weight to carry, so it wouldn't be ideal for backpacking. So the 5-pound tank and the 11-pound tank are going to be a step up from the 1-pound tanks. The 5-pound tank is going to be obviously a little bit heavier, although with the Ignite gas growler you do get this protective case on it, and it makes it super easy to carry. That is the same with the 11-pound as well. You'll get a lot more protection with this around it, and you won't dent the side of your car. You won't be slamming this into stuff. But in general, 11-pound, 10 pounds, somewhere in that range is going to be kind of my personal pick for the overlanding car camping. So with the 5-pound, you get a little bit longer use, and you can probably get a few trips out of this one without refilling it. So the 11-pound is going to be my personal choice because I am more in the overlanding car camping category. So I will still get a ton of propane out of this, a ton of uses, week long or even more. But I don't sacrifice the space in my vehicle for this because it is pretty compact, and it still gives you those padded walls on it, so you're not damaging the inside of your vehicle while you're off-roading. So the pros for these sizes is that they are still going to be very portable. You're going to get a lot of use out of them, and for most people who aren't going to be in a big 5th-wheel RV or something like that, this is pretty much going to hit every single one of your needs. So the cons for these is that if you have an RV, or if you use a ton of propane, then you will have to refill these a little bit quicker than let's say a 15 or a 20-pound. So typically the 20 pound would be the one that people use, but as I said earlier, the 20 pound just really doesn't fit in my vehicle. So even for making this video, I just wasn't really willing to give up that kind of space. So we'll just use the 15 in the place of the 20, but you kind of generally get that same space with this one as well. So this size, either the 15 or the 20 pound, is going to be ideal if you have an RV, have a fridge inside that runs off of both electric and propane. If you have a fridge that runs off of propane on your RV, I would 100% recommend going with the larger one, just because you want to be able to keep that running for a long time. So just like the 5 and the 10 pound, this one can be refilled. For the 15 and the 20 pound, you will exchange them for a new one instead of refilling it. These you will refill and get your same tank back. So the pros for this one is that it is going to be a ton of propane. If you have a lot of consumption that you need, then this will probably be a best bet for you. It can easily be refilled or exchanged if you would rather do the exchange. That way you're getting, I guess, a new tank every single time. And these are cost effective and a little bit better for the environment because you aren't tossing them out like this one. So the cons to this is that it is obviously going to be absolutely massive. A 20 pound tank, like I said, I wasn't even willing to bring that with me as sort of a more overlander. I even have to put a piece of clothing on here just to keep it from cutting up or slicing any of the plastic trim in my car. Especially if I had it back here in the back, it would be slamming around and it could potentially seriously damage something in my car, and I just really wasn't willing to do that. So this thing is not portable, obviously. This thing is super heavy, it's hard to transport, and it doesn't have a case for it, so it's super difficult to do. Now obviously this one doesn't have a case either, but it is so small and portable that you can put this inside of, you know, like a bin, or like I have these drawers here, so it's not a real issue that these don't have a case. So now we've covered the different types of tanks, I'll kind of show you guys what the different uses are for this and what I would recommend. So obviously if you're a backpacker, this is going to really be your only option. This is the type of tanks that I used for years and years. They are not really refillable. There are ways you can refill them, and I have talked about that in the past, although it's just a little bit sketchy, and I just don't really trust the refilling of it. But I will say I do keep this as a backup inside of my drawers, just in case I completely absent-mindedly forgot to fill these up. So for backpacking, this is really all you're going to be able to take, because this is not going to fit inside of your backpack, and you know, obviously none of the other ones are as well. So obviously if you're going to be car camping, you can go with the 20 pound if it will fit in your vehicle. Just for me, it is not anywhere near what I would want to do. So if I was car camping, like I said before, I would go with one of these here, this one being my favorite. The 5 pound one is still really good, and it is at a good price point. So, you know, this is a viable way to go, and I have used this for a long time, and I've been pretty happy with this as well. So obviously you can take the 1 pound ones with you camping if you'd like to, but you just don't get as much use out of them. And since you have more space in your vehicle, it is a little bit better to go this route. This one right here will replace 5 empty canisters of the small one, and this one will replace 11 pounds of the small one. That's a lot less canisters that end up in the garbage. So the last one is going to be a 15 or a 20 pound. Now if you are RVing, then it's likely that you have a tray built into the front. It's going to contain either this or an even larger one. Now, if that is the case, you probably are going to be running a fridge and a lot of other things off of propane, so it's likely that this would be the route that you'd want to go. These size tanks are large enough to run hot water heaters, fridges, your stove, and really anything that you're going to need inside of your RV. But for really any other use, I wouldn't recommend getting something like this. Now if you have something like a teardrop that doesn't have that little space in the front, you know, sometimes casitas or scamps like the one that I have, you You know, sometimes they don't have that on the front. The one that my girlfriend and I have does have that on the front, but sometimes they don't, and this would be a really great route to go if you don't already have one on your teardrop. So in conclusion, I believe that this is the best route to go. This is the Ignik X Comp. It is brand new, super lightweight, and it also comes in this all black case that goes on the outside of it. So this is by far my favorite one right now. I will be keeping my old gas growler just for smaller trips, lighter packing, but this is probably going to be my next go-to for pretty much all of my camping needs. I run a stove, I run a fire pit. I can even use this to heat up water to use my shower. So these two right here, I will drop a link below and you guys can pick these up. I will also put a link to this one as well if you still feel like you want to go this route, but in my opinion, these are the better way to go. So for the amount of fuel that you get, the size, the packaging on the outside that keeps it from damaging things, I really just think there's no real reason to go with any other size, but somewhere between the 5 and the 11 I think is the best. And if you really felt like you wanted to go with a larger one, you still can do that. If you want to go with a small one, absolutely, by all means, do what you want. Anyways, that being said, guys, appreciate you stopping by. Thanks a lot.